Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 116. I'm Evan.
I'm Jim.
And we've got quite a bit on the plate today. We're going to talk about some business stuff. We're going to talk about some movies. And Jim has a bone to pick with Marvel.
Yeah,
so we're going to get into that. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing good. Good. It's nice to be back. We had a little bit of a summer vacation. But it's nice to get back here.
Back in the hot seat.
Yeah, absolutely. We have topics that we've missed as vacation is...
Yeah, a lot to cover.
Yeah, exactly.
So let me tell you a little story.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
It's about 11:30 at night. And I said to myself, shit, I forgot to eat today. Because hey, look, sometimes when I'm working,
yeah,
you know, you're making stuff,
it happens,
and
right.
You just forget. And I go, oh, I got the tummy rumbles.
Mm-hmm.
I got to go grab something to
eat.
So I tell my partner, hey, I'm going to go grab something. I'll be back in a little bit. And I'm on the main road.
Yeah.
And I'm pulling into a food place. And I'm turning. And the next thing I know is I hear boom.
Uh-oh.
Screech.
Oh.
And then I got hit mid-turn.
Oh.
Got hit mid-turn. And my car flipped.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, my.
So next thing when I finally have, when my brain catches up, I'm on the ground.
Holy shit.
And so, I unbuckle my seatbelt and I take a minute and I'm like, all right, is everything where it's supposed to be? Is there any bones poking out or anything? My elbow got scraped up, a little banged up, and that was it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Again, I'm collecting myself for a minute.
Right.
And I'm looking around. I'm like, the fuck am I going to get out of here? So I pull myself out of the driver's seat and I open the passenger door.
Yeah.
And, at this point, people,
Yeah, everybody's converging onto
this. It's a major car
sure.
accident at this point.
Sure.
So people are running up. So this guy comes up and he's holding the door open for me. So I pull myself out of the door and slide down the roof.
Holy shit.
I'd land and I'm a little shaken up,
sure.
obviously. But
I would
again,
guess.
relatively unharmed.
Yeah, that's good.
And the guy's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And then the girl that hit me comes running up and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't see you. Did you see me?" And I was like,
"Bitch, I don't need to see you."
No shit. and I'm going to describe her because again, it's 11:30 at night.
Yeah.
And so, and I'm just in jeans and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Like I'm not in anything special.
Mm-hmm.
She's got on this shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's an X. It's like an X that covers her chest.
Yeah.
And then her midriff is exposed. So that's basically kind of how it looks. But the X kind of goes down.
Okay.
So it's like to me, it almost looks like lingerie in a way.
Sure.
Sure. And I'm like, okay. And she weighs 400 pounds. So like, so this cartoon character basically has hit me. And I'm not body shaming her. Like, you want to wear that, wear it. More power to you.
Fine.
But it's an odd thing to be wearing at 11:45 at night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, where are you going?
Right.
Like, what are you doing that you're wearing that,
mm-hmm.
right? So, fire, cops, police. Car accident happened at 11:45. By 12:10, I'm back at the house.
Really? Okay.
It's quick.
Yeah, that is quick.
Ambulance shows up. Does anyone need to go to the hospital? Nope. Okay, they take off. Fire department. I'm already out of the car, so there's no fucking point for them to be there. Tow truck flips the car, puts it on the back. gone. Didn't hit anything, right? Like, didn't take any street signs out or anything like that. Yeah. Cars are on the thing. I'm gone. Luckily insurance took care of it all, so that's all situated. And so, we got the new car now.
I saw that.
Yeah, so that's why.
I was going to ask about that. Yeah. I thought it was because your partner, when the last time I talked to her, mentioned she wanted a new car, and I'm like, oh, you just got a new car.
Nope.
That's
why. That's why. So, and it was a very surreal experience because the way that my brain, we've talked about this on the cast before, and like at that time I got mugged, that fucked with me for a long time.
Of course.
For whatever reason, like, I've been in a couple car accidents in my life. Some have been my fault. Some have been other people's fault, right? And for whatever reason, the way that my brain sort of compartmentalizes this sort of stuff is, yeah, that was scary, but I didn't get hurt, and no one else got hurt. So, like, all right.
Yeah.
And then I move on.
Right.
So, like, I was over it the next day. I was more upset that the car got busted up.
Sure.
But I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm afraid to drive. Like, no, I was like, all right. I don't know why. That's just how my brain processes it.
Sure.
But what's funny is, so I've never, and I've talked to a couple of people about this, and pretty uncommon to be in a rollover.
Right. Absolutely.
Never have been before this.
Yeah.
What's funny about it is, you ever seen in like the movies when they film like a car crash from the interior of a car? It was exactly like that. It was exactly like that. It really was.
Nice.
Because again, I didn't really get hurt.
Right.
So like, again, I got a scuffed up elbow more so from the airbag than anything.
Yeah.
And again, the next day,
probably sore.
3 to 5 days, you're sore.
Yeah,
pretty sore. But like, walked out of it unscathed. So I went to the, you got to go to the tow company, right? And just to clear out the car so the insurance can tow it away or whatever. Right. And by the way, if you don't have insurance, get insurance. Yeah, it's good to have.
Yeah.
It'll keep you protected. Like, it'll save you quite a headache.
Yes.
So I'm talking to the tow guy, right? And I'm like, oh, he goes, can I help you? And I'm like, yeah, I just want to pull some shit out of the Ford. It flipped, blah, blah, blah. And like, he goes, you were in that rollover last night? And I go, yeah. He goes, you don't have a scratch on you. I was like, yeah. He goes, what are you, Superman? And so I looked at him and I go, don't tell anyone. Yeah, so that was my excitement. You're off on vacation.
Yeah,
I'm rolling cars over.
Jeez.
Yeah, so that was that happened.
But did you get food?
No.
Oh, Jesus! You got a rollover in the car, and you didn't get food.
Didn't get food, and then the funniest part about that is, so I just finished telling you that, like, the way my brain compartmentalizes shit. It's been 2 weeks. I have not had a craving for that particular. I don't ever want that fucking food again.
Sure, I can understand that.
I'm just not their fault at all.
No,
nothing to do with it. But just like I'm just like I'm good.
Subconsciously, yeah.
I'm like, bad things happen if I eat that food. So they lost a customer.
Yeah.
I mean,
shame on you.
Shame on you for existing. I'm not saying if they offered me, hey.
Maybe.
Hey.
Well, DoorDash.
No, but maybe free food for a year or something.
As long as they DoorDash it to you.
This motherfucker, he wanted our food so bad he got in a rollover over it. It's great marketing. Yeah, so
nice.
that happened.
Good. That's good.
Yeah,
that's
so
awesome.
That was a new experience.
Yeah, I bet it was.
Not one I think I'd want to do again.
Yeah, I would say once is enough. Nice.
Not complete. Again, I walked away from it. I'm very lucky that I walked away. And it's one you check off the list. Yeah, been in a rollover. Check it off.
That's all.
Yeah, pretty wild. Wild stuff.
I imagine so.
Thought that would make a good little.
Yeah, that's a good opener.
Good opener.
Yeah.
So moving on. It's been a while.
Yes.
What have you seen?
So I've seen 3 things.
Okay.
I've got a love, a meh, and a hate.
Okay.
So I'll start with the hate.
All right.
It's a movie you've already watched. I know this because we talked about it previously.
Okay.
I Caught the Monkey.
You hated it?
I hated it.
I thought it was.
I hated it.
Come on, it was
I
campy.
liked nothing about it.
I'm not going to lie to you. I fell asleep.
I liked nothing of. I did. I didn't even like the kills. Like it just.
Oh, some of them were fun.
I couldn't. I just
like
couldn't.
The cannonball one was kind of fun.
But
Come
it just
on.
all of it was so dumb. It was
here's the thing. If you go into that expecting anything except for a dumb fucking movie, you're going to be unhappy because it's dumb.
Right, but it wasn't like one of these like an Ash versus Evil Dead type of thing, right? Where you know going in what it is, right? I wasn't expecting it to be that
the marketing
stupid.
did a poor job of selling what the movie was, because the marketing sells it as a horror movie,
right?
And it's really not.
Yeah. If you want to tell me this is Sleepover Camp Part 4, and I know what I'm getting into, I know it's going to be right. Like, I would have been fine, but, when you're talking about a Stephen King novel and you're talking about horror, and then you put this out, it was like, I couldn't. I just could not.
No, it's a cartoon.
It is a cartoon, and I just was not.
That left a bad taste in your mouth.
A real bad taste in my mouth.
All right, so that's a hate.
That's a hate. The meh was... Bring Her Back. Have you seen Bring Her Back?
I did, and I had much higher expectations for it than because again, I really like Talk to Me.
Right.
And I thought again, and my review, and I think you somewhat agreed with me on this, is that Talk to Me didn't reinvent anything.
No.
It just did a very good job of building suspense and kind of having the movie play out.
So what I thought was meh about Bring Her Back was I figured out the plot within the first 5 minutes.
Same.
Right?
Yeah.
Very easy.
20 minutes in, I had the ending.
So it became, okay, I know what it's all about.
Right.
How do you get there?
Right. What's the journey?
And it wasn't satisfying enough. It wasn't horrible.
So I think that's probably my critique of it, too, is that I thought that the build-up was okay.
Yeah.
But the payoff, to me, was meh.
Yeah, and it was a little paint by numbers, like the story we've seen many times before.
It was play it safe. The only stuff I liked about it, the only thing I'll give it a lot of props for was almost two things: the frustration of the system, right? Like I thought that was pretty well done.
Yeah,
and then spoilers if you haven't seen Bring Her Back. I didn't expect the brother,
right. Absolutely.
Right.
That would be the one thing that I was not. I was expecting him to be the savior of it all.
So did I. So that kind of caught me off guard a little bit. So I kind of liked that.
That's to me what made it meh. Because
it would have been bad if it didn't.
Right, exactly. Right. That at least was something I was not expecting.
I don't think it was. I don't think. I haven't seen it in a while, but I don't think there was anything like there weren't any like egregious. It was just a very.
It wasn't bad. It was
it was
bland.
It was very vanilla.
That's the problem with it. It was very easy to figure out.
I'm glad you saw it because I wanted to talk to you about this because now I'm starting to wonder. Because you know how high I regard The Witch, right? Because that was the first time in a very long time that I had seen. I call them dread movies.
Yes.
Where you have dread through the whole movie. Maybe the payoff at the end isn't, what the movie's about. It's more about the journey type of thing. But now that's almost become a genre.
Right.
And now that it's become a genre, it's becoming more saturated, and we're starting to get used to it. So I'm wondering if Bring Her Back came out 3-4 years ago, maybe we would hold it in higher regard.
Possibly, yeah.
But because there's all these dread movies that have come out, in the last 10 years, it does kind of play out like a vanilla. And again, there's suspense. You're like, all right.
Again, I would say it's worth a watch.
The gore was good. Like that scene in the kitchen.
Yep.
That was pretty.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, there was some.
Yeah.
But it just, I was hoping for more. It was a little bit too vanilla for me. The brother did save the movie for me as far as
his whole journey.
And the unexpected twist of the ending of that part of it. So
it gives me, it's interesting because those guys were YouTubers.
Yeah.
So I thought they hit a home run with Talk to Me. I think Talk to Me is a great horror movie. I think if you go into that, it's that is a good, solid horror movie. I think Bring Her Back is fine.
Right.
But, I hope that's not going to be what we get out of these two. It's like it's okay to have it's okay for your second attempt to be fine, but like you've already proven that you have some chops.
Yeah, you definitely have to bring it up from this movie. This movie isn't.
What I will say though, from like a technical side, it's a lot cleaner than Talk to Me
Sure.
is. So you can tell like technically.
Yeah, they made some improvements.
Yeah, they're filming better.
Yeah,
but story wise, I'm gonna need more from these guys to continue watching it. So I agree. I would say more fine. I would say very vanilla. Definitely not worth a rewatch.
Right. No, it isn't. It definitely isn't. But a movie that I loved, and I have no business loving this movie, but I did. Death of a Unicorn. Speaking of A24.
Really? Because I would put that as a fine.
I loved this movie.
You know why?
Because it had no business being this good.
So my issue with it was, here's my issue with it. It almost felt like it couldn't figure out what it wanted to be.
Sure, and I could see that.
So that's that. Like, so every time I was like, okay, so it's kind of we got this sort of campy horror flick, but then it starts then it kind of leans too much into the camp side of it, and it's like, well, all right, but then just don't make the unicorns as horrifying. Like, pick.
Right. But you had
it was very safe. The ending was very safe.
It totally was. But you had just the over the top. Will Poulter was over the top. It just hilariously funny to me. And then you had like Richard Grant.
Yeah, Richard Grant was awesome.
Like totally being the straight man.
Yeah.
And then you had even Taya Leone, who was back and forth between comedy and straight. And you had Paul Rudd, of course, who
he nailed the dad. Like
Jenna Ortega was fine. Like she was okay.
Maybe that's another thing too. Is I think that I like Jenna Ortega mostly, but she was just fine in this. Like,
this wasn't a good.
Like, I think
this was a good performance, if that.
Right. And I think again, where she is the main character and the movie does kind of rest on her shoulders. Everyone around you brought their A game,
right?
And like you.
I would say you were the weakest.
Even Anthony Carrigan was fucking hilarious in that.
Yeah.
As the butler.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Great.
It was one of those things where I wasn't expecting much, right? I just it came out looking for something to watch. I said to my partner, hey,
give it a shot.
When we watch this, maybe it'll be okay. It's A24, right? So they usually put out something decent. And at the end of it, we both looked at each other like that was 10 times better than I thought it would be going in.
It is a fun ride.
Yeah.
And even the banter between Taya Leone and Will and Richard, as a family unit, very funny.
Yeah, there
were some moments.
And like you said, the guy who played the butler
he was funny.
And there was it really wasn't a horror, even though it's classified as such. I mean, obviously there's some elements of gore with it, but unlike the monkey, right? This campiness to me worked. It wasn't cartoonish. It was sure over the top campy.
It was.
But it wasn't a cartoon like the monkey. The monkey I just felt like was a complete and utter cartoon. It just wasn't. There was nothing that I could find too redeeming of it.
This had its feet a little bit more on the ground. No, I don't disagree with you. I think it's a. You know what? I would say it's a fun watch.
Yeah.
Probably wouldn't watch it again.
No.
And I think that it's one of Jenna Ortega, who's having a great run.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of her weaker performances.
Right.
But star-studded cast. I mean, the unicorns look good. They don't look stupid.
Yeah, and maybe, Jenna Ortega's performance not being up to par with everybody else really let everybody else shine. And that's what works for me, too, because, she didn't steal all the spotlight because she wasn't really great. But everybody else around her was really good. And it was a fun ride for me. Like, I had zero expectations. I know that there was a lot of negativity as far as critics go around this movie, and it wasn't getting a lot of good word of mouth.
I think pacing and tone-wise, it was a little all over the place.
Sure.
So I think that's probably what hurt it for me. But, now that you bring it up and I can recall some of the scenes in it, there were some really funny.
Yeah,
there are some really funny scenes. It was
a good. Like I said, that movie and Bring Her Back, I would recommend watching. The Monkey, I would not recommend watching. But that's me. What about you? What have you caught?
Yeah, so I got a couple.
Okay.
So I watched Twisted Metal, the TV show. Season 2 came out. It's great.
Is it?
It's a home run.
Good.
There's great humor in it. There's great action in it. And for it being a video game property, I think it hits it out of the park. It's one of my favorite adaptations. It's silly. It's gruesome. Like everything you'd want. So season 2, just as good as season 1.
Excellent.
I saw the first episode of Peacemaker.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Again, if you like season 1. This is just,
good,
it's more of the same.
Excellent.
So if you're looking for different...
I haven't caught that
yet. If you're looking
but...
for different, you're going to be disappointed. But if you love Peacemaker and what makes Peacemaker, it's good.
Nice.
And then I watched Jurassic World.
Oh, did you catch it?
I did.
The new one?
The new one. Jurassic Rebirth.
Okay.
Jurassic World Rebirth. So here's my comment on it.
Okay.
Overall, fine.
Sure.
Overall, fine. Better than the last two.
Okay.
I think the T-Rex looks incredible. Like, it's probably the best iteration we've had since, like, JP1.
Nice.
The CGI's on point. The T-Rex looks phenomenal. Where it loses me.
Okay.
To the point of, I don't know that I want any more Jurassic. I have a very strange relationship with this movie because the whole ride, the whole journey, it was all fine. It was all, what you want out of a Jurassic Park movie, right? Where it loses me is the last 20 minutes.
Okay.
Because I understand that Jurassic Park's whole sort of, if you look back from the first movie on, it's always trying to one-up itself, right? Like the ending, you always have to have a bigger, badder dino, blah, blah, blah. And I was fine with, this most recent trilogy that came out. Look, you want to do the gene splicing and have the fucking Indominus Rex and Indominus Raptor and all that bullshit, fine. I can deal with that.
Sure.
Where you lose me is with the D-Rex, which is the big creature in this one, and it looks like something out of like a Godzilla movie. Like it doesn't look like a dinosaur. It looks like something out of Cloverfield.
Oh, okay.
And so to me, when you start mutating the dinosaurs so much that they don't look like dinosaurs anymore, It took me out. It took me out of it.
Yeah, there's no reason for that.
Again, all the dinosaurs you're showing me some different dinosaurs. You're showing me some weird mutated flying ones that look like they could be dinosaurs, and I'm like, okay, I'm still in it for the ride. Scarlett Johansson was a little vanilla. Mahershala Ali was great, but Scarlett Johansson was fine.
Yeah,
not the strongest, not the weakest.
Right.
But where I really lost it was with the big reveal of the D-Rex and having it look like a fucking Cloverfield monster. And I'm just like, it stops being Jurassic Park to me when like, it's all fantasy, right? But, now we're bringing, like, you can't...
you don't want mutants now.
Right, because you're I get it. your whole thing has always been we got to one. They're always building something that's going to one up the last dinosaur and blah 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 blah. But like to me, bringing in a mutant that doesn't look like it's got 4 fucking arms, like it's not Jurassic Park. Now it's just become a sci-fi movie,
right?
And the fuck is that?
Yeah, no. I mean, that's the whole thing. This was about bringing back dinosaurs, and that was good enough. Like that's all it ever needed to be.
Right, and I said, I don't take issue. Like a lot of people were bitching and moaning about Indominus Rex and the Indoraptor and all. I was fine with all that shit. Like, all right, whatever. You splice together a bunch of dinos to make a hybrid, fine, whatever. But where I can't abide is just mutants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like now
right.
It's just a monster. It's not a dinosaur, it's a monster. So you've created just another fucking monster, which I don't think you needed for this. Like I don't think it added anything to the story, and it took me out of it.
Yeah.
It's like the last 20 minutes I'm like, the fuck, who made this decision?
Right.
So it's not a bad film if you go and sit for the 2 hour. It's long.
Yeah.
So if you want to sit down for the 2 hours, an hour and 50 minutes is great. In the last 10 minutes, you're going to be like, the fuck is that thing?
Right. Yeah.
So
that stinks.
And then I saw Fantastic Four.
Oh, did you see it?
Yep.
Okay.
So we can start leaning into Marvel a little bit. This is what I'll say about it.
Okay.
I think it's the best Fantastic Four movie we've ever got.
Which is a low bar.
It is a low bar. I think they nailed Reed Richards. I think he was really good. I kind of like that they leaned into sort of the autism, unfeeling sort of thing. Silver Surfer was fine. Galactus was awesome, but he was in it for not
very
long
small,
enough.
Right? Yeah.
But really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think it's enough. And I think that the box office proves that it's not enough. That it's not a bad movie.
Yeah.
I didn't leave the theater going like that was a waste of time.
No.
But
But
it didn't. So I watched Superman and so I've seen this summer superhero movies. And when I left Superman, I was excited.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I cannot wait to see where DC Studios is headed. Can't wait. And now with Peacemaker, and they're doing a little retconning. They've added like Guy Gardner and Hawkgirl are in it. So they're fitting it. They're making it work.
Yeah.
But it all still feels good, and I still I get that initial vibe that I got from the Superman movie. And after leaving Fantastic Four, I was like, yeah, that was good. Don't care about Marvel at all. So
no,
I don't know what the answer is, because again, you have back-to-back good movies with Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four, but it's not enough to reignite the flame. No,
and I'll say this, and I know you just said, what you liked it, what have you, and certainly you're entitled to your opinion. I'm going to say that Fantastic Four lost $100 million because of Pedro Pascal. I'm going to say Pedro Pascal really hurt this movie because a lot of people did not like him.
I didn't like the way he looked.
Well, and that was always going to be the biggest complaint, is he didn't look like Reed Richards.
Like personality-wise, I think they pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think he financially crippled this movie. I think that you would have done better with someone else. I think he cost you $100 million. I still think you would have failed. This movie would have failed. I think you would have done Superman numbers had you had anybody but Pedro Pascal. That being said, you're right, though. Overall, people are looking at this like it wasn't bad, but yeah, Marvel's still dead. This didn't reinvigorate anything.
Right, and I think this was really their shot to reinvigorate it. And I think what the problem is with Marvel now, because this didn't set the world on fire, your next movie is Doomsday.
Yep.
that is an unearned film.
Well, your next movie is actually Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that's released. That's
going to be
Sony.
Sony, right? You're not going.
So I don't really count.
Yeah,
it's
not going to have too much to do with Doomsday.
I don't really count that.
Right.
So your next Marvel movie is Doomsday, and that to me feels very unearned.
Mm-hmm.
And what I think is going to happen now, again, if Fantastic Four blew up the world, okay. Again, little soon to be doing Doomsday, but, all right, get it in.
Yeah.
I think what's going to happen with Doomsday is what happened with Justice League.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you're trying to do something that's unearned.
Yeah.
That's too fast, and it's not going to resonate with people because, again, I think Fantastic Four is a step in the right direction. Again, casting aside.
Yep.
I think story-wise, CGI, all of the things that really matter when you're taking the ride were there. They were there. I mean, you had a great villain in Galactus, but how do you justify jumping into Doomsday from this?
Well, you can't.
Right.
Because
so it's an unearned It's an unearned event movie.
Right. All you're really doing is trying to get to Robert Downey Jr. as quickly as you can, and Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, and then, getting as much nostalgia out of the Fox X-Men, and then you're going to reboot the universe come Secret Wars, which is ultimately what you're trying to get to as quickly as possible, is pushing the reset button. And I take no umbrage in that, because look, DC does it constantly because they can never get their universe off the ground.
Right.
So I do not take offense that Marvel is going to look at this and say, no, we've got to scrap all the majority of what we've done and redo it. I'm totally on board with them doing that. The problem is, and this is the stuff I want to talk about, they just had that whole thing come out where they said, that they've lost men, right? So
yeah, they've lost 18 to 35.
Right. The Gen Z, but they didn't say that they were going to fix Marvel or Star Wars in order to get them back. They said they're looking for
new properties.
And again, here's the problem. Gen Z, they like what? They like manga and anime.
Yep.
They like video games.
Yeah, I mean, look at how successful Netflix's One Piece adaptation has been. They've already greenlit 3 seasons
of it. Look at that K-pop Demon Hunter, right?
Knocking it out of the park.
They put it in the theaters for 2 days.
Yep.
And it made, what, $20 million?
Right.
You know what I mean? That's what Gen Z wants, right? So Marvel can try to find that. Disney can try to find that stuff and try to appeal to them. But Gen Z was never your audience. Sure, there might have been more Gen Z viewers of Marvel because they also like trendy things, so they did jump on the trend for a while.
Marvel's mistake, or Disney's mistake, I should say, is trying to update properties that belong to, millennials, Gen X,
right,
for Gen Z,
right,
and what they should have done was make the movies for millennials and Gen X and some Gen Z, if you do it right, a la Force Awakens. Not that was a good movie, but that was everyone being excited about more Star Wars.
Sure.
Everybody went to that.
Yeah.
But if you build it, and I'm not saying build One Piece or K-pop for millennials or Gen X, build it for Gen Z, and then you'll get some millennials.
Right, you're not gonna get Gen X.
Know who your property
right.
is.
K-pop Demon Hunters is not for Gen X, and Gen X isn't watching it for the most part. Like I have a slight curiosity, right? Because again, we run in that circle.
It's a little different for you,
right? But for the most part, like, my generation is not going to watch that.
No.
And it's not designed for that.
They're not coming across it on Netflix and going like, oh, yeah, all right, I'll throw this.
But the thing is, you play to your strength, and you hope that maybe you get some overflow from other generations that may give it an opportunity.
The smart play is that you know, if you're Disney, and I mean, I don't know, there's probably no fixing it at this point.
No.
But the smart play would be, okay, what are our properties? Well, we have Star Wars and Marvel. Okay, well, that appeals to Gen X and millennials, right? We need to find a property that appeals to Zoomers, but we're not going to wash our hands of these other two because we can have everybody.
Right.
And you have the theme park set up that you could do your millennial and Gen X side of it and then do your Gen Z side of it. But instead, they tried to take the square shape of Star Wars and Marvel and fit it in the round hole of the Gen Z audience, and it doesn't matter. And what ends up happening is you whittle away the shape so much that it doesn't fit in the Gen Z hole, and it doesn't fit in the millennial or Gen X hole.
Mm-hmm.
So now what you have are two properties that, no matter what you do, I don't think there's any saving Marvel at that. Like maybe, and again, I shouldn't say that. Maybe you reboot it, and maybe a reboot is just what it needs. But I don't think, regardless of the nostalgia bombs that we have coming next year and the year after, I don't think either one of those is going to be good enough to fix the sinking ship that is Marvel Studios.
Right. But again, you can reboot, right? And it works. Like in the comics, right?
Yeah.
We had the New 52, right? Let's take Batman, right? You had the New 52 Batman, which I thought was an awesome run.
Great run.
Then we got to Rebirth. They rebooted it, and that was an awesome run.
Yep, back to back.
And Batman has been good, and then it started to fade a while. Then you put out Absolute Batman.
And it's destroyed.
Right. So,
which, by the way, is fan-fucking-tastic.
Right. But every reboot was for the same audience. You didn't change what you were, again, you're updating
and
the property.
Just to be clear, the audience isn't confused either.
Right.
Like they're like, all right, we're rebooting. This is a new universe. Like, let's go.
So if you reboot Marvel, the MCU, for the audience that will be there to watch it, you can have success. But if you're going to reboot it for Gen Z, you don't do it because it'll die.
But here's the thing: is that Superman is not built for Gen Z. It's built for Superman fans.
Right. That's who it should.
And
right.
That's
who it should be for.
That's why it works.
Right. And even though it may not, have made the money that, everybody wanted it to,
right,
or
but it's a different time. You know what I mean? Like this.
Exactly.
You have to, because I see a lot of like, and this shit really bothers me. I see a lot of Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Lunatics, I'm going to call them, that are just like shitting on it because it didn't make what Man of Steel made. Well, first of all, Man of Steel cost over $100 million more to make. Second of all, Man of Steel came out in a pre-COVID world. And like it or not, COVID has shaken the movie industry to its core.
It also came out when Marvel was at its height.
Right.
I know this is a DC, but you know what I'm saying?
About the
superhero genre was at a much
it was
bigger,
the mountaintop,
right?
And so,
also Superman made more domestically, which means you get more take home,
right,
than the international market, which Man of Steel did better in. So, again, these are apples and orange comparisons,
right? But the thing is that the Snyderverse is dead.
Dead and buried and gone and never coming back.
It's never coming back. So either get on board with Gunverse or fuck off, because nothing you do, boycotting it is only going to hurt the property, right? It's never going to make Warner Brothers is never going to go. You know what we should do? Is we should bring Zack Snyder back and let him keep making movies, even though the fucking DCEU is dead in the ground.
Right.
It's over.
Yeah. It's over, and again, no one even back then in 2013 when Man of Steel came out, people were not saying that was a tremendous movie, one of the greatest. There was no comparison.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, and I thought it was okay, but was anybody comparing it to 78?
No.
Superman the movie?
No, but
nope.
Nothing is going to be 78.
No, but at least this movie is being talked about in the same circle.
But here's what this movie's doing that I don't think the Snyder heads can wrap their brains around, is that people are going to comic book shops and buying Superman shit.
The merchandise has been outrageous.
Out the door. So what you've done is, and again, I'm a millennial, not a Gen Zer, so I can't speak to that. But what you've done is you've made a movie that I saw it with another millennial and a Gen Xer, and all of us liked it. Mm-hmm. And the Gen Z is buying the merch. So, like, you've made a movie that speaks to the three generations that you're trying to market on, that's gotten us excited for what's to come. And here's the thing. When I turned Peacemaker on the other day and I saw the logo, I was like, fuck yeah. Yep, this is right where I want to be. So we're in such a good spot with all that.
Yeah.
That, you know, regardless of whether it and this is the point that I try to make about the Marvel movies and shit too, regardless of whether it makes $1 billion or not, the ripple effects that it has are worth way more than the extra $400 million could ever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, the thing is that it rejuvenated the fan base of DC for wanting more of what's to come. Just like Iron Man originally did with the Marvel.
And Soup isn't even their strongest property.
No, not at all. Again, he's one of their biggest characters, but he's never been the moneymaker.
No.
It's never been that way. I mean, maybe in the 30s and 40s and 50s, I'm talking, last
we're talking about
50 years.
Current day.
Yeah.
Soup has never been the guy.
But people are now looking at Superman in a positive light for the most part. Yeah. You're going to get shitheads that just want to bitch, and you're never going to get away from that. Just like, again, like you said earlier, Thunderbolt and Fantastic Four, both are being regarded as decent to good movies, but it didn't rejuvenate
it's weird.
the Marvel fan base.
It's really weird because having seen both and like thinking about it leaving, I was like, yeah, that was a fun ride, but it wasn't enough.
No.
To make me go, yeah, man, Marvel is back, baby.
Yeah.
Because it's not.
Because, just like in anything, right? Music, movies, TV, what have you, nothing stays on top forever. It's never going to be at the heights that it once was. Marvel is going to be, 700 million is going to be, between 500 and 700 million is where superhero movies are going to be now. You're going to get an outlier where you're going to hit $1 billion. Sure. I'm not saying you never will again.
No, I'm sure. I'm not saying that Doomsday and Secret Wars won't do $1 billion. You're getting nostalgia bombs.
But they may not. And if they don't, it's okay. It's okay because...
it's okay if it doesn't cost them $400 million to make it.
Well, no. If it doesn't hit like $2 billion, it's going to be a financial failure.
Right.
For how much? But what I'm saying is, if you had your budgets in check, if movies were costing $100 million to make, and they were grossing the 500 to 700 million, that's great. That's all, because the bandwagon hoppers are off. They're gone and they're not coming back. And rebooting the universe isn't going to make any difference. You have to now play to the audience that's left. The audience that will remain, the audience that's going to stick with you, is who you should be making movies for, because the audience of comic books and comic book movies, you've lost so many of them because of what you've done. They will come back.
But to your point, too, superheroes had their time in the sun.
Right.
And now it's manga.
Yeah.
I mean, the best performing stuff right now is a lot of the animation, Demon Slayer and Jujutsu Kaisen, and again, Netflix's One Piece is a huge,
massive success.
And they're redoing the anime.
Yeah,
they're going to do a cut down version, so it's not 1,000 fucking episodes.
Right,
and that's the shit that's going to sell.
Right,
because that's what's hot.
Gen Z and below. That's what they care about. And that's if you want to get new IPs, that's the direction you need to look.
Yeah, but they won't be able to get those.
No, not those. You'd have to create your own IPs of such, which you're not going to be able to do. So again, you're not going to lure.
No, but if I'm Disney, I make a play for Studio Ghibli, because they already have a relationship with them.
Yeah.
Right? I make a play to get that shit in my theme parks yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you can get a Ghibli world in Disney, I think that will help you compete with Universal, which is knocking it out of the... Because Universal has Nintendo, right? So they have their Japanese property.
Mm-hmm.
So they're future-proofed with that. Disney doesn't have that, but they have the ability to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, again, when we're talking about this stuff, again, we're at comic book shops very regularly. We're at the conventions. When we see Gen Z, they are dressed as what? Pokemon.
So
they are dressed as Has-Been Hotel.
So here's the thing: is that when I started this business, right? The first couple cons I went to, and this was probably about 5 years ago, you would still see a lot of superheroes and Marvel and stuff. Now, predominantly, it is anime characters.
Yep.
It is Has-Been Hotel. You see a lot of Has-Been Hotel. You see it's all Japanese properties. It's whether it's anime, or I see some Genshin Impact stuff. It's all Japanese stuff now.
Yeah.
So it's that's what this younger generation cares about.
Yep.
They don't care about. Nobody cares about Star Wars anymore.
No.
Because what you've done is you misread who Star Wars was for. You tried to build it for a younger audience, not knowing what the younger audience was into, and you failed.
Yeah.
And what's crazy to me is that I watch a lot of anime, because again, I try to keep up with current trends, because we do a lot of the art and stuff, and we want to be relevant. And if you look at female leads and all that kind of shit, it's not girl boss how it is in Western cinema.
No.
They may be the most powerful beings in the show or whatever, but it's not... There's never this oh, I'm better than you, I don't need you, that type of shit. One of the core themes on a lot of these animes is you're nothing without your group. You're nothing without your friends.
Right. They are equal to men, but they are not saving men. And men aren't saving... again, don't get me wrong, on occasion that happens... Men save women, women save men. But typically the thing is they are equal footing. There are no girl bosses.
No,
There's not going to,
again, a lot of the
they're not going to be
themes,
allowed to be either.
And then a lot of the themes, though, are, you're nothing without your crew, your friends. You're nothing without that team to back you up. So... It's just bizarre to me.
Well, the thing is, we walk into a comic book store, there might be 30 people, right? And maybe me and one other person are buying comics. Everybody else is there for Pokemon.
Right.
You know what I mean? The majority of people that are in comic book stores right now are for Pokemon, for Yu-Gi-Oh!
Well, comic book stores now are really just... card game stores,
right? But that's what Gen Z is into. That and they buy manga, right? That's what they're into.
Right? They buy Pokemon Magic. They buy some Warhammer's doing pretty well.
Yep.
They like tabletop board games, and they like manga.
Right.
That's what they like.
And you're not going to get them back. I don't care if you bring back Robert Downey Jr.
No. Here's the thing: is that you don't need, if you're Disney, you don't need to do manga. What you need to do is say, okay, well, what works in manga, and how do we turn that into a westernized IP? Do that.
Yeah, but they've shown no reluctance to stop the girl boss, and even Fantastic Four had
to a degree
of girl boss, just like Thunderbolts did, right? Even though they say they're going to stop doing this type of stuff,
it's like a drug addict.
They can't,
it's
and
like
they won't.
It's like a drug addict.
Yeah,
like, we're not going to fall into the same old tropes. But then you do,
and then you say, well, we're gonna turn Star Wars. How are we going to do that, Rey? That was your answer to how to fix Star Wars. More Rey. And it's like, more Rey Palpatine, who's evil and wants to destroy the universe. Give me that. I'll be interested.
Or make Star Wars for the audience that it belongs to.
Right. But you wanna go and do another girl boss Rey movie, and everybody's like, no, you're dead to us. And so they have no idea, but they're not going to be able to do what manga does, because you would have to make men heroic and have to make men masculine, and Disney can't do it. They can't.
I think what's strange, because I've been watching anime and reading manga for years, and like before it was like mainstream or anything. I remember like going into like shops, like, and they would have a couple DVDs, and that's all you could get, because you couldn't even find it online, and all of that shit. And I just think it's so interesting that, again, like the way that they're painting out the heroes of these stories is that it's, for the most part, it's usually a group. There's not typically, in some there are, in some there's that lone wolf type of thing.
Sure.
But like, again, it's usually like, hey, this guy or girl is the main person, but like the supporting cast of characters matters.
Right.
And I think where Disney lost the plot is they didn't, with a lot of this girl boss shit, is that none of the, like, look at Willow, like nobody mattered except for that the girl. Like, nobody's an island. These anime stories are telling kids and young adults that, and that's the message. And even in K-pop, like, they're a fucking group,
right?
So it's like nobody wants to show up for this. I'm the best. I don't need anyone. You're lucky I'm going to save you type of shit, because that's not relatable to anyone.
No, and again, you can try to find IPs that relate to Gen Z, but that's not going to fix Marvel and Star Wars.
No, not if that's not even just Marvel and Star Wars, but like even if you find an IP that relates to Gen Z, if you turn the characters into boss character, male or female,
it's not going to work.
Right, it doesn't work, because here's another great example, right? Tom Cruise exists in a vacuum, right? Where he's the fucking guy. He's the lone wolf guy who does all the blah, blah, blah. That doesn't translate outside of Tom Cruise movies.
No.
It doesn't.
No. He has an audience that knows what he is, accepts what he is, and will go to see his movies for what they are.
But nobody's seeing those movies to try to relate to Tom Cruise either. That's the other thing, is that no one is trying to, be like, oh, yeah, I can see that. No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I know someone that's like Tom Cruise.
Right.
No one knows anybody that's like Tom Cruise.
Tom Cruise is the only holdover from the 80s.
Yeah.
Like Schwarzenegger doesn't really make flicks anymore. Stallone doesn't really do flicks anymore. And even the flicks Stallone were doing, the Expendables, he was part of a group.
Bruce Willis can't do flicks anymore.
He can't even remember his fucking what he had for breakfast. He's cooked.
Yep.
But the thing is that, even in Star Wars, like, Luke was nothing without Han, Leia, Chewie, and C-3PO and R2-D2.
It would have never worked without the entire group.
It wouldn't have worked.
And again, you had a villain that, and again, that was a group too, but a villain that was actually a threat that you could not defeat. You could fight, but you couldn't defeat. Like every villain in Marvel and Star Wars now, easily defeatable. They're barely an inconvenience to what you're doing.
Yeah, Rey wiped the floor with Palpatine.
Right. And, again, Galactus defeated, one movie.
Right.
Gone.
Right.
Just like every, Kang, one movie, gone. Almost every villain in a Marvel movie is gone, minus Thanos, in one movie, or, even Loki, I wouldn't even say, because he kind of converted. But,
right, but it's just that thing of, there's not... Villains don't have staying power anymore, right? So that cheapens sort of their presence in the films. And then when you do that sort of thing, like, here's the thing. The reason why Superman hit so well and and Captain Marvel didn't is because Superman is incredibly relatable. Mm-hmm. He's incredibly relatable, and Captain Marvel isn't. Captain Marvel is a god being who doesn't give a shit about what us mere mortals think.
Right.
She's just going to save...
And she will make sure that she's a god being.
And
where Superman does the opposite.
Superman is trying so hard to be human. Mm-hmm. And Captain Marvel isn't.
Right. And the thing is, you would think... Right, based upon, and again, knowing he's an alien and she became, imbued with powers from an alien. But again, they both grew up on Earth, right? They both have humanity.
Right, it's the same story.
Right, but the thing is, one decided, you know what? No, my powers are greater than everybody, and therefore I am to be worshipped. And the other is, hey, I'm just a kid from Smallville.
Right.
I'm nobody. Hey, I just grew up to become a reporter. You sure about that? You're not some... Nope. I'm just a normal guy.
Right. And I think that's where they miss the mark, is that, the reason why Superman is so charming, especially in this iteration, is because, he's flawed. Mm-hmm. And... that's what we want as an audience, because everyone is flawed.
Yeah.
Everyone on this fucking planet has flaws.
Right.
So when you introduce characters to us that are flawless...
Yeah, and that could do everything perfectly the first time they even try, it's not relatable to anybody.
There's no relation, because everyone has struggled to get to where they are.
Right.
Wherever you are in life, that is a universal truth. Mm-hmm. And again, with Rey or Captain Marvel, having these sort of Mary Sue kind of characters that are, Batman's a Mary Sue, but he's fucking a mess.
Yeah.
So at least there's that element of it, is he may have an answer to everything, but the dude can't get Bruce Wayne's life on track.
Right.
Because he's so fucked up.
Yeah. There's so many, things about his character that are greatly flawed.
Right.
You would never look at Bruce Wayne and / Batman and say, oh no, he's got no flaws. He's perfect at everything he does. It's like, no,
right.
That guy has can't hold a relationship with barely anybody.
So if you're going to do a Mary Sue character, a Superman, a Batman, a Captain Marvel, a Rey, you have to make them relatable.
Yeah.
And they do it with Superman in the fact that he's chasing humanity, right? And he craves, he sees himself as a human. And his actions are dictated that, hey, I'm a human first. Mm-hmm. that happens to have these extraordinary powers, but at the end of the day, like you said, I'm a small town boy from Kansas.
Yep.
With Batman, you have, the billionaire element, but he's so mentally fucked up.
Yeah.
Which, again, a lot of us struggle with mental health issues. You go, oh, okay, so even though he has everything, what does he really have?
Yeah, but he's also got tremendous trauma that ruins
his life. He can't keep relationships.
His normal life.
Right. He's got a split personality, basically, and Bruce Wayne is his mask.
Yep.
And then you have Captain Marvel. Hey, I was a human, now I'm a god. I have all the answers. Nobody better talk down to me. Whatever. Then you have Ray. Hey, I know all these, I know I'm standing on the shoulders of giants, but I'm the best.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, oh, the Force? Yep, I'm the best Jedi ever. Day one.
Right.
Pilot? I'm the best pilot you've ever seen. Mechanic? Best mechanic you've ever seen. Can fix anything.
Right.
First time I see it. Like, who's that relatable to? Everybody that's had success more than likely has failed once or twice on their way to achieving success.
Yeah. What is it? Sucking at something is the first step of being good at something.
So, again, no one can relate to being perfect at everything every time you attempt it the first time. More than likely, you're going to have to go through...
But it's not fun to watch either.
It's terrible to watch.
And then it eliminates any sense of danger, any sense of drama, because it's just like, yeah, right.
Yeah, and the other problem, like we just talked about, every Marvel movie you go into now, you know that villain is gone by the end and defeated. You need to change your pattern. Now, again, Doctor Doom certainly won't be, especially if you're going to keep Robert Downey Jr. in the role for Secret Wars, so he's going to be at least in 2 movies. But, again, every movie you're going into now, what's the big threat? Like, they're going to get defeated. That, there is no big chance of losing. And that was what was so great about Star Wars originally.
Well, I mean, Empire shakes you.
Yeah. And again, you don't even at Return of the Jedi, right? You have the big celebration at the end, but you don't, again, you can't say for sure that something else isn't lurking out there. You know what I mean? Like there was always a chance that somebody else.
The end of Jedi feels more like a respite. A respite than it does a conclusion. It's like, we get a break now. We stopped the current threat, but there could be something looming in the shadows.
Right. I mean, you didn't destroy everybody in the universe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So clearly there could be other threats. Right now in Marvel, it's like, there's realistically, when you look at it, there's one villain coming in. There's like 70 Avengers.
Right. There's like no shot.
Right. Like, really? There are zero stakes. Zero stakes. Because I don't even care about you bring in Galactus. He's going to go against 70 Avengers. He's going to lose. It's just the way it's going to go. And it's like, so nothing you have is a threat.
There's something to be said about making things smaller.
Yeah.
Which I know goes against our capitalist mentality of everything has to be bigger and grow and grow and grow. But there is a sweet spot. Again, that's why I think Spider-Man to this day still works, because even though he goes and globetrots with the Avengers, when we get a Spider-Man movie, it's Spider-Man. And he's dealing with Spider-Man villains on the street, Spider-Man issues.
Yep, exactly.
And I think it works.
It always works. It always has worked. It always will work. I mean, some movies are better than others. I mean, the Andrew Garfield ones, weren't good movies. But at the end of the day, Spider-Man you'll always find a way to fix Spider-Man. It's always fixable because he's such a relatable character with such a great rogues gallery.
But that's why Batman works so well, too.
Exactly.
Is that, again, you're keeping everything very terrestrial. You can, you can have fantastical elements, but I don't want to watch Batman fight Brainiac. That's not...
No.
not without Superman's help. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that because
Right.
it just doesn't. It's too big.
Look, at the end of the day, Batman is just a person, and Brainiac will kill Batman. There is just no doubt. He could have any contingency plan he wants. At the end of the day, Brainiac will kill Batman.
Right.
Like, it would happen. It's too big, too powerful, just like Darkseid. There would not be a real threat.
No, Batman versus Darkseid 1-on-1, Batman dies.
Right, but with Superman and Wonder Woman by his side,
right. Now that you have
he
the
can
group,
fight with alongside them and be successful in holding his own. But one-on-one, there's no chance. And that's, same with Spider-Man. Even though Spider-Man has, all his powers and all that, most of the villains he goes against has at least something to counteract what Spider-Man can do. And that's what makes them dangerous, is because it's not completely one for one, but it's close, and therefore you can see the threat. But, again, like I said, you're going to trot out the leader to 7 Avengers? Like, where's the threat there?
Well, the leader can get taken down by Sam.
Right. It's just...
the B-tier Cap.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's no threat to any of these villains, and that's part of Marvel's problem. Going in, it's not a big threat. They're going to vanquish the villain at the end of the movie, and, it's probably going to be the female character that does it. Like, that's Marvel.
Yeah, it's just it's a tired formula, and again, even with Fantastic Four being good, like, it was good, it was fine. Mm-hmm. It's not enough.
No,
it's not enough. And even if it was stellar, even if it blew it out of the park, I don't know if it would be enough. I think at this point, like, you had a great run up until Endgame. We got a couple flops in there, but you had a relatively historic run up until Endgame. I think you completely mismanaged and mishandled everything up until, I would say, Thunderbolts. I think Thunderbolts was a turning point. I think Thunderbolts was good, and I think Fantastic Four was good. Mm-hmm. But good is not, especially now that we're kind of seeing the end of the road on this particular run of movies. Like, having 2 good movies when there's really, Spider-Man aside, where there's really only 2 movies left.
But good is okay if your budget's $100 million. When your budget's $250 to $300 million, good is not anywhere close to where it needs to be. So, again, the reality of the situation is you've got to start making superhero movies 125 million and hope that they gross between 500 to 700 million.
Well, I think the other thing is that not everyone has to be an Avenger.
No.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you can have a superhero who's not an Avenger, and that's okay.
Right. Exactly. They could be adjacent, but they don't have to be an Avenger.
Right. And I think that's another problem that they've run into, is that everyone has to be an Avenger.
Right. But that's what made the comics so great, was you had Avengers, you had X-Men, you had Fantastic Four, and then you had
your adjacent, you had your Daredevils,
you had Spider-Man,
you had Deadpool.
Right. Exactly. And that's fine. And they ran sometimes together, most of the time separately.
Right, but now it becomes, and we're seeing it with Doomsday, with all the chairs, everyone's an Avenger.
Right, everyone's an Avenger, everybody crosses over with everybody all the time.
Right, which is a huge mistake.
Yeah.
It's a huge mistake.
Right, you have too much. Have street level, have cosmic level, have, in something in between, major threats, minor threats. Like, again, these are the stories that you can tell.
But the way it should work, and the way it worked originally, was, you had your separate heroes dealing with all of their things. Cosmic threat shows up, Avengers is formed, Avengers deals with the cosmic threat, then the heroes go back to doing their things.
Right.
And there doesn't have to be there doesn't have to be that bleed over. You don't need that.
No, until the next big threat rolls around and then everybody gets back together.
Right. Or if you can't think of something and you have to do a team up in one of the movies. All right, whatever, fine. But like it doesn't always have to be, we're making an Iron Man movie, so we have to have Thor come in or Hulk come in. No, just have Iron Man.
Yeah, just like in the new Spider-Man, Hulk's in it. Like,
he doesn't need to be in it.
And Punisher.
Right, neither one. Like, here's the thing. You want to bring Punisher in because I think Spider-Man, you can have Daredevil, they're kind of similar.
If you're going to tell, kind of go off the story of, the original Punisher when his, debut in Spider-Man, and you're kind of basing that story, okay, that's fine. Like Punisher, I get it's a street
Hulk
level.
Doesn't need to be in it.
Hulk doesn't make any sense.
Nope.
He makes zero sense to be in Spider-Man.
Right, and that's the problem is that when you start shoehorning characters in, it stops making sense.
Yeah,
and it happened with Ironheart. You don't need Mephisto in Ironheart. It doesn't make any sense.
No, it made no sense.
It makes zero sense. He's not in any of her comics.
Nope.
Not that her comics are good, but that's just something you fucking pulled out of your ass to have Mephisto in.
Right. Yeah, and that's what you're doing. You're shoehorning these characters just for the sake of having them, but they don't make any sense for the overall story.
No, you want to do Mephisto, do Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that makes sense. That works.
Makes sense.
Yeah, Moon Knight,
you could do Mephisto. Blade, you could do Mephisto.
Like, those are the characters where it would make sense.
So Blade will never see the light. Blade is dead.
No, dead.
Blade's dead. They haven't confirmed that it's dead, but it's dead. Like, clearly, if we're rebooting the universe, it's dead.
Well, I mean, again, we're going to have Blade be 55 years old?
Right, like Marshala, although I will say he looked pretty good.
Yeah, no, he looks good, but he is 50 years old.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, so what?
No, but what I'm saying
they got him hopped up on HGH.
Yeah, but how many, again, you're going to count on 10 movies, 10 years?
Right, that's the only problem.
You know what I mean?
Now
like,
he's in his 60s.
If you do a Blade movie, you have to do more than one. And I'm not saying Blade movies necessarily, because not everything needs a trilogy, but you do have to have the Blade character.
I just think
in more movies.
I think Blade is a tricky property because I don't think it aligns with what Disney is trying to do.
No,
and what I think is interesting is Disney tried to go more adult with Daredevil, but they couldn't commit.
No, it shows.
Right, and that's the thing, is like Netflix committed. And the reason why the Netflix show is so good is because they weren't beholden to the Disney ethos.
Netflix was unapologetic in
Netflix
making an adult
comic book
accurate movie or show.
And it hit.
And hit
Punisher
very well.
Hit because they weren't afraid.
Yeah, and Jessica Jones.
Yeah, even
did
Jessica Jones hit
well.
Right, that was a lighter than Daredevil or Punisher, but it was still pretty dark.
Yeah, but for the most part, people are clamoring for more because of how well
because people,
it was done.
The thing is
that
Disney
won't.
And this is the other thing.
Do justice to it.
This is the other thing is that it's okay to have adult themed heroes.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to have Deadpool. Look, whether you like it or not, Deadpool versus Wolverine did $1 billion because people want the R-rated, I call them R-rated heroes, to be R-rated, unapologetically R-rated, and that's what you get that's what we got out of Deadpool.
Yep.
That's what you got out of Daredevil, Netflix. That's what you got out of Punisher, Netflix. That's what you got out of Jessica Jones, and that's what you got out of Blade.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why all of those are looked back on so fondly, because it's still fantastical. They're still superheroes, but it's not made for the kids. It's the adult version of the heroes. I think they dropped the ball on Moon Knight. That should have been a hard R TV show.
For sure.
They should have leaned into the crazy a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
I think they dropped the ball with Blade because they were trying to make a very R-rated character into a PG-13 character, one, that's number one.
Yeah.
And number two, if you bring Blade into the MCU, so instead of just making a Blade movie and letting it exist on its own, if you bring Blade into the MCU, you just introduced vampires into the MCU. You've just complicated an already incredibly complicated situation. How do you bring vampires into the fucking Marvel-verse?
Well, I mean, again, this is why you have to have other lands, right? I mean, you could go, you could do something in, say, Romania, right? We have the vampire lore, right? So, yeah, vampires exist. There was a, experiment done. I mean, you could go back to the Hydra days, right? Hydra created vampires. You know what I mean?
Whatever you want to do, it's just, I think one of the coolest things that happened in comics, it was Black Label. I think that was awesome. I think it was really cool that DC was like, hey, we have these more adult stories. We're going to take these adult stories and put them under Black Label. Everything's going to be under DC Black Label, right? And I don't know I think it's still around. I don't know if it...
Yeah, it's not really much anymore, but...
Right, well, they're not really telling those kind of stories anymore either. But the thing is that if you apply that mentality to the, your darker heroes, like... if you're gonna do a Constantine, like, do it fucking dark, man. Like, don't do don't do a fucking. First of all, don't do Keanu Reeves.
No.
No. But do something that's in line with the character.
Right, but you should have. But if you're gonna do Constantine and you're gonna do Swamp Thing and you're gonna do Etrigan the Demon, you have to have them have their own space in the universe where all of that stuff is going on, which isn't in Metropolis or Gotham City. You know what I mean? You have to have it where they're in Europe somewhere or somewhere else. It
can be as simple as just don't connect it. They just don't have to be connected. Just make the fucking movies and don't connect it. And then if you want to connect it, just have them show up in other people's properties, and then you can water them down there. But
they don't have to be. But you don't have to connect everybody to everything.
No.
You can connect Constantine and Swamp Thing, but you don't have to connect them to Superman.
No.
Now, eventually down the road, you can.
Right, but the thing is that if we have all these movies and lore and stuff from Constantine and Swamp Thing, and it's much more R-rated and it's much more adult-oriented, and then you want to connect them to Superman, all you have to do, they're not fighting their threats in a connected situation. Right? So it's going to be lighter than if they were in their world. It's the same thing with, if you want, when you connect Batman and Superman, you don't have to bring the grittiness. Like, Batman's not dealing with Gotham shit.
Right.
He's dealing with whatever you're putting in front of him with the group. So it doesn't have to have the same feel to it.
Right.
So you can get the R-rated adult content, you can build up the property around that, and then you can still include them in your big event shit and just, water them down a little bit.
Well, that's one of Snyder's biggest issues was he didn't make the world outside look different for any character.
Everything was Gotham.
Right. Everything was Gotham, and everybody was a form of Batman in one capacity or another, and he couldn't differentiate anything, and that was the big problem. They've got to be in. This has got to be Gotham or Metropolis, right? Oh, no, you're here. Well, it looks like Gotham. There was no differentiating where these characters were. And that's what James Gunn needs to do. And that this is the problem with Marvel now, is everything just has to be, connected, and the universe outside the window has to always look the same. And, that's the problem. It's like you don't have to all be in the same area at all the same time. Everybody should be scattered across not only the world, but many different planets.
But I think, honestly, I think we're done. Like, I think this is the end of the road for Star Wars and Marvel. I really do.
It is.
Like, I don't think we're, like, maybe we'll see a reboot in 5 or 10 years, but like, I think, especially with Disney coming out and saying that they're looking into new IPs, I think they're done. And whether they sell them off or they just kind of keep them around and they're just not what they were, that's not to say that I think the superhero genre is done. I think DC is going to have a great run. I just think that, the Marvel train is reaching the station at this point.
See, I never thought Star Wars was meant to last forever, meaning I thought Star Wars would last forever. I just didn't think you'd keep on trying to make things forever. I honestly thought George Lucas was going to make the 9 movies that he talked about. That was kind of, after it originally started rolling, it became
right, he
a
said
thing.
He had a plan of 9.
Right, and I think that maybe you would have got a cartoon here and there, or an animated, or a little, like, not the holiday special, but as I would take
Listen,
that.
Don't you dare!
I love the holiday special.
I watch
that
every year.
Right,
every year.
Of course. But we'd get something like that, right? I mean, every once in a while. But Star Wars was never meant to continue on forever. When Disney bought it, they didn't understand that, and Marvel could.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what works with Star Wars? Like the Cal Kestis stuff works fine.
Sure, you can keep on making video games,
but it's not. It's not. I guess what it is. I guess the reason why it works for me is because it's really not. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the core, Luke and company and Anakin and all those, that's what matters in the Star Wars universe.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the offshoot stuff doesn't really, like, the Cal Kestis stuff is good, but it's not, it's not, the stakes aren't
right
like what they are in Star Wars.
But even the expanded universe stuff, which was tremendous, which gave us Thrawn, right? Things like that, right? It was never canon. So you could always create books in video games. You could always keep on going with Star Wars property, but for the movies, it should have, 9, it was supposed to end, and that was it. And these movies would last forever. Like, generation after generation after generation would
like,
watch it.
It's interesting, because I feel the same way about Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we got Lord of the Rings, which I think is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Then we got The Hobbit, which is not as good because, again, but that's a lot of studio interference and blah, blah, blah. And that should have been it.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't need Rings of Power. Like, you didn't have to keep going. Like, you had, like, that's it.
But Rings of Power is doing what Disney Star Wars is. It's ruining the story, the lore. It's eroding the fan base because of how poorly you're doing with it.
And it's interesting because, like, I had brought this up with my partner. We'll cut this in a minute, but I had brought this up with my partner a long time ago. And she said to me, she's like, well, you can still watch the originals. And I'm like, yeah, I can, but it's like watching them with an asterisk now.
Yeah.
Because, like, before, you would watch them and, it's like, oh, who knows where the future's headed? And now we know.
Right.
So it's like, yes, I can still enjoy them, but not as much.
Right. Well, just like now we know that Anakin was not the chosen one because there were people born from the Force before him, and therefore he's nothing special.
Yeah, that's not canon.
Right. But, but that's what you deal with now. Like, so
right, but that's the thing, is, like, you have to a lot of people that like to give us a hard time and just say, well, just watch the ones you like or whatever. It's like, right, but you understand that I care about the property. And looking at the property as a whole, like the stuff that comes after shouldn't diminish what came before.
Right, but it exists now.
Right.
And it's canon.
Right.
And so therefore you have to, again, you don't have to like it, but you have to accept the reality of this is the story
let me
now.
Before we cut this, let me ask you this, though.
Mm-hmm.
Would you be okay with Disney selling off Star Wars, right, to another company or whatever? Them wiping out everything that Disney has done. Just like how Disney decanonized a bunch of shit. If they decanonize the Force Awakens, all of that shit is decanonized, right? And then they continue on from there. Like, obviously, they're not going to have Leia and probably Han and Luke. Like, they're going to be out of the picture now. But they went on and told a story, maybe further into the future or something. Maybe with, maybe they go down the path that Luke had a kid, and, they go with that route or something. Would you be good with that?
I'd be good with giving somebody the opportunity to do that, sure.
Right. So, like, you could do something, and then you would just look back on this in, like, 20 years and just be like, remember that fucking wild Disney run of Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, but none of it's canon, so it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean?
I'd be, again, before we wrap it up, I'd be okay with Marvel if they reboot the universe and things like Ironheart and Echo and Miss Marvel get killed. And they're gone, and they
you don't
exist.
even have to kill them. Just.
Well, you know what I'm saying. That
right,
they
properties are
existed,
just done.
but they're no longer going to be part of it going forward. So even though that they existed, they're gone now, and they're not going to be part of it going forward. Even if you say they got trapped in a different universe and now the multiverse is closed and they're never coming back, however you want to do it, I'm fine with that. But if you're rebooting the universe just so you can have Tony Stark and Steve Rogers back, but all that other shit still is going to be a massive part of it, and you're still carrying on those stories.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think if you're smart, right, and you reboot, you go, what heroes worked in the original run?
Yeah.
Iron Man worked. Thor to a lesser extent, but he worked.
Mm-hmm.
Hulk, sort of.
Mm-hmm. Black Widow
worked. Captain America worked, and Hawkeye for the most part worked. So that's your core.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 7 Captain America movies then. Give me 7 of them. Give me 7 Iron Man movies, unless they suck. But what I'm saying is like just instead of hitting all these different superheroes, play on your, like, I would much rather, even in DC, I would rather see Superman movies, Wonder Woman, Batman, and the like your core sort of I don't need a million off. I really don't. I don't need a million offshoots.
No, but even if you want to say, hey, you know what? We're not bringing back Scarlett Johansson's Natasha Romanoff.
You can't bring anybody back.
No. But what I'm saying is, if you had Yelena Belova take over as Black Widow and Kate Bishop take over as Hawkeye, but you have Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Bruce Banner.
Yeah, but you can't have Chris Evans play Steve Rogers forever.
No. I don't want Chris Evans back.
Oh, you're just saying Steve Rogers.
Right.
Okay.
Right. So I'm saying if you want to bring back the main characters, but instead of Scarlett Johansson, it's Florence Pugh's.
Right, as long as it's Black Widow.
Right. Like, I'm good with taking some of the new characters that work and moving them forward. I'm okay with that.
Sure.
I'm not saying you scrap everything. I'm saying, look, most people like Yelena Belova. She seems to be very popular. Most people like Kate Bishop. Those 2 characters, move them forward.
Right, now you have a female Hawkeye. You have a young new Black Widow.
Yeah, and I'm cool with that'd be fine as long as you give me Steve Rogers Captain America, Tony Stark Iron Man, Bruce Banner Hulk, and Thor.
I mean, recast Ruffalo, obviously.
Oh, immediately, please.
Right. And you have to recast all of them.
You have to recast all of them. There is everybody needs to go at Secret Wars, but the characters need to move forward.
Right. You have an opportunity to reboot the universe. Yeah. Bring it into the modern day, and then you get to play with the toys that everybody wants you to play with.
And you recast Black Panther.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
You don't. Shuri is a fail.
It's a fail.
A massive one. Look, sorry, he died. It sucks.
He was awesome.
It's time to move on though with that.
Right. I think the play is, do Secret Wars, reboot the universe. Now you can have all new core characters, but I think the don't fall into the trappings of not every character needs a movie, first of all.
Right.
And make the movies around the characters that people want to see.
Yeah. I mean, again, you look at the Winter Soldier, right? Black Widow had a big role in that. It wasn't her movie, but she had a big role in it, and it was very well done. You can do that. You can have two characters in a movie. You can have a Captain America movie with Hawkeye. You don't need a Hawkeye movie, but you can have Hawkeye be a strong second.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I want to go back to kind of isolated movies at the beginning. I think when you reintroduce everybody, obviously not origin stories, but yes, you have to do singular movies. We don't need origin stories.
No, because they have the same characters. We're not starting over.
But here's the thing, and I think DC has this figured out, and I think if Marvel's smart, they'll follow suit. Give me year 2 Batman. Give me year 3 Superman. Like give me.
Yeah,
you can still give them to me with green, but not out of the package.
But the thing is, when you do Secret Wars, if you do a variant of Tony Stark, that Tony Stark is 20 years in. Right. He's been Tony Stark Iron Man for 20 years in his universe. He's just now this universe's Tony Stark because he got moved in from the multiverse, but he's 20 year in Iron Man, or whatever the case might be. Like, nobody is new. Everybody is that age of how long we've been watching these characters. They're just now, younger as an actor.
If they do a reboot, though, it's going to be fresh.
Yeah, and that's a mistake.
I'd be okay with year 2, year 3 type of shit.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to throw away all the good that you've done.
No, but I'm just saying,
all the world building that you've done.
What I mean by it is, and I think why the year 2, year 3 stuff works is because you have to give me a young actor in that case, so you can get 10, 20 years out of them.
Right.
And you don't have to rehash. We don't have to see him making the suits.
We don't want any of that.
Right. Suits already exist, but he's still, you can still have him learning lessons and shit.
Right.
I don't need him to be, I don't need it to be 87 Batman coming in the flat. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need grizzled veteran guys coming in. You can give me fresh-faced, but I don't want green.
Right.
I don't want out of the package. They should have already been doing this shit for a couple of years, ironed out some of the bugs. Maybe they're not perfect, but I don't need to see the suits being made. I don't need to see any of that shit. That should already be out of the way.
What your story should be about is there's a new Tony Stark and a new Steve Rogers. They don't know each other. They know their Tony Stark and or Steve Rogers, but these are now two, so they're not friends like they are, right? So the whole story should be about these new iterations becoming a team and becoming friends and getting to know one another because they don't know each other personally.
Yeah, but stay away from the multiverse shit.
Oh, the multiverse has to close at Secret Wars and be done forever.
Multiple properties have tried to do this multiverse shit, and it never fucking works.
No. It's again, if you did it for a short time, and you know,
but when you start to flesh it out,
yeah, the only way it worked or would have worked and should have worked for Marvel is, okay, we have these properties coming in from other studios, so we're going to use the multiverse as a way to explain why they haven't been here all along.
Right. You could have had it exist and use it as a way to paint yourself out of corners.
Right.
Instead of making it the entire plot point.
Right. And once you did that, then that should have been it. You that's your explanation of where they've been, why they're here now. But then the multiverse is closed off, and you don't go to that well anymore. Yeah, it's great that we've got the nostalgia. We saw Toby and we saw Andrew and, we saw Wesley and all we're going to see all the Fox X-Men in this next movie. But, I mean, you have to stop the nostalgia, too. Like, enough. We get it. Like, we don't need to see that anymore.
All right. Well, with that one, let's put this episode to bed. Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Great to be back.
What do you got going on?
Just getting back to getting the art out there. So stop by the socials every week and check out the art and drop a like, a comment. Just give it a follow, please. It'd be much appreciated.
Does a lot for us.
Yeah, it sure does.
All right, guys, that's episode 116 of The Corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. We're in the Mall of New Hampshire at Manchester Craft Market. We're going to be at Granite State Comic Con the week of September 19th, that weekend. We're also going to be at Rhode Island Comic Con coming up at November 3rd. And New England Comic Con Black Friday weekend. But what do you guys think? Have you seen The Monkey? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you like Death of a Unicorn? I thought it was okay.
It's okay. It's good.
Is Bring Her Back a great horror movie, or is it just kind of a vanilla mediocre one? Have you seen Twisted Metal? Do you like it? Do you hate it? Are you enjoying Peacemaker? Do you think it's good to have mutant dinosaurs in Jurassic Park? What are your thoughts on, where DC Studios and Marvel Studios are at right now? Do you think Marvel is at the end of their road? Do you think DC has a bright future ahead of us? Do you watch anime? Do you read manga? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.